Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great day, not just a good day. So today's mystery case is actually going to be about a 19-year-old beautiful young woman who had a lot of potential named Lindy Biechler. And this case took place in 1975, which is basically like 50 years ago, but this case got solved after 47 years, which means this case got solved this year, 2022. So Lindy Biechler had two parents who loved her very, very much, but at a particular point in time, her two parents got separated, and the father remarried and had a child called Mike Little. Mike Little was Lindy's stepbrother, and they loved each other very, very much. Time went on, and Lindy graduated from college at the age of 19, and she met a handsome young man that she wanted to get married to. After just 4 months of meeting this man, Lindy decided to get married to him. Lindy moved to Lancaster with her husband, and they were living happily. So on this particular day in 1975, Lindy's husband went to work like every other normal day, and Lindy decided to go to the grocery store to fill up the house on the things that he needs, like juice, tomatoes, stuff that you just buy for the house normally. While Lindy was in the grocery store shopping, she got a call from her uncle and her aunt, and they told Lindy that they were taking their kids to a basketball game and asked if she wanted to come with. Lindy was excited because she just didn't want to stay at home alone all day waiting for her husband to come back, so she accepted the offer. And they told Lindy that they were going to pick her up by 5 p.m. Lindy finishes shopping at the grocery store. She gets into her car, she drives home, and she just decides to go home, take a seat, relax, and wait for her uncle and her aunt to come pick her up for the basketball game that they were going for as a family. Lindy's uncle and aunt get to Lindy's house at 4 p.m. and they are waiting for Lindy to come out. They call Lindy's phone and Lindy is not picking her phone calls. So the aunt decides to go into the building because she thought that maybe Lindy slept off or Lindy was just busy cooking and then she left her phone somewhere, because she usually does that. Lindy's aunt gets to the front of Lindy's apartment and starts shouting Lindy's name, but she still hears nothing from Lindy. So she decides to go into the building to ask why she hasn't come out yet. And when she opens the door, she sees the unbelievable. There is blood splattered everywhere across the walls, on the floor, on the kitchen counter. And then she sees Lindy on the floor with 2 knives stabbed into her body, one in her right neck and one near her ribs. Lindy's aunt is quiet for a bit because she feels like her mind is playing tricks on her. And after like 1 minute of assessing the whole situation and seeing what she's actually seeing, she starts screaming. And when she starts screaming, the neighbors come out because it was like an apartment building. So once you speak or anything happens, everybody hears what is going on. So people start coming out of their apartment. The uncle downstairs, which is the aunt's husband, hears his wife scream and decides to rush upstairs to see what was going on. The uncle is trying to come in, wondering why there's a crowd near Lindy's apartment, and he's trying to push through to see what is going on, and he sees Lindy on the floor and he is in shock. He sees his wife on her knees in the sitting room, sobbing her eyes out. He's confused. He's asking what happened. He doesn't understand what he's seeing because he also thinks that his mind is playing tricks on him because he did not understand what the hell was going on at that particular point in time. So everyone starts panicking and they call 911. The police comes, tries to get everyone to leave the scene, and they also try to investigate people around, the neighbors and anybody that could have been around, on what on earth happened, or if they saw anybody that looked suspicious or any lead. They just tried to find any lead that they could get at that point. Lindy's aunt and uncle are left traumatized. The police tries to get them to calm down, to go back home, and they were going to try their best to find out who did this to Lindy. The next day, the police tries to investigate some of Lindy's friends, neighbors, and especially her husband, because they termed the murder a crime of passion because Lindy had nothing less than 19 stabs on her body that day. And there was also a sign of struggle, which means when the person actually tried to stab Lindy, Lindy tried to fight back, but the person obviously overpowered her. There were some trails of footsteps from Lindy's blood, which suggests that it was most likely a man's shoe. The only other option is that it was a woman who probably wore men's shoes so that it could also be seen to detect all women out of the case. But most likely it was a man that did this. So the first person that came to mind, since it was a crime of passion, was Lindy's husband. The police investigate Lindy's husband. They interrogate him. They are trying to find out more information if he probably had a mistress who could have done this, or if he had any intent to do this, but they find nothing on Lindy's husband. Lindy's husband is just left traumatized because he was the first suspect in this case. Lindy's body was buried a week after her autopsy, and the most shocking thing happened. Lindy was already buried, right? So, you know, sometimes people that could not be there for the burial, or even people that were there for the burial, might want to come to Lindy's grave to put some flowers or to send their last greetings or memoirs to the dead. So after like a week of Lindy's murder, Lindy's family decided to come to pay some respects to her. And when they get to Lindy's grave, someone had scratched Lindy's name off of her grave and tampered with the grave. And this just leaves the family even more distressed, because they get there and they are just so confused on who could have done this. Because this could not just be someone that just knew Lindy. This was looking like they had beef with Lindy, like they had a hatred for Lindy, like they had some type of inner problems with Lindy. The family of Lindy go to tell the police what they had just seen. So the police come to Lindy's grave to see what Lindy's family was talking about, and they see it and they just determine that this is obviously a crime of passion, because there is no way someone that does not know Lindy would do this. A day later, after going to the grave, the police is trying their best to find out who did this to Lindy, who could have possibly done this, or try to find any leads. And just as the police was trying to find out who did this to Lindy and busy with their interrogation, the chief of Lindy's case, called Chief Donald Sheila, gets 2 letters addressed to him, which said, and I quote, "Hi Sheila, just eats up your heart knowing you haven't caught me yet. Still around Lindy's marker on her grave. Just turned me on like she did. And the way she looked all bloody like the paint on her marker. The scratched and nick marks represent the knife stabs. Count them. You wondered if the guy at the gas station in Mountville was related to Biechler's murder. Forget it, man. No way. I'll tell you what, Chief Pig. You print this letter in the paper along with a picture in Friday Lancaster paper and Saturday morning's paper. And I might confess when I get off my trip. You see, the world owes me a living. Maybe I give you a few hints on who I am. I got busted once for drugs a few years back. I live in the west end of Lancaster. I am 5'10" and 205 pounds fat, and beautiful, and very capable of killing again without knowing it. December 5th, 1975 was under the stupor of amphetamines like right now. I'm well educated, single, good job, but God, please, Chief, help me. I'm losing my mind. Help me before I kill again. The drugs only calm me temporarily. Will God forgive me? Print this in the newspaper so I know that you got this. I need a priest. What have I done? Please help me." The second letter that came in the mail claims to have come from the killer's friend, which said, and I quote, "Hi Chief, my friend has confessed to the killing of Lindy. As God is my witness, do as he asks. Print the letter in the newspaper. He is mentally sick. When the letter appears, then he will turn himself in." Like, whoever this killer is, like, really? Yeah, like the police will believe that you're just going to turn yourself in when they establish it in the newspaper. Really? So the police gives these 2 letters to psychologists to try to find out if they know what could be going on in the murderer's mind. And the psychologists say that they think that this letter actually most likely comes from a woman, because it is very hard for a man to describe himself as beautiful. And that they believe that these letters actually came from the same person. Another police officer that was in the case also suggested that they think that the Zodiac Killer might be back again. And if you do not know who the Zodiac Killer is, the Zodiac Killer was a very terrible murderer, which they have not caught yet till date. We don't know if the Zodiac Killer is dead. We don't know who he is, but he had a pattern on how he usually killed people in the 90s. And they believe that the Zodiac Killer was back. This actually made the police department a little bit shocked. So they decided to contact the California police station. But when they decided to compare the letters of the Zodiac Killer and this person that wrote this letter, it wasn't really the same. It didn't match. So that was out of it at this point. Months went by, years went by, and nobody ever found out who killed Lindy Sue Biechler. But this did not stop her family and friends from ever trying to still find out and not giving up on the fact that they were going to eventually catch the killer. Lindy's half-brother, Mike Little, was really interested in this case and also offered it to organizations who also tried to help find out who killed Lindy. They also put advertisements up on billboards, TV stations to find out who killed Lindy or if they know anything about Lindy, but all to no avail. But over the years, science and technology has evolved. People are doing things that we never thought would have ever happened years ago. And so the DNA matching in murder cases also evolve. The killer obviously never thought of this because this would never come to someone's mind, you know. So the police in 2022 decide to bring out Lindys Biechler's case since 1975, which is basically 5 decades, basically. They didn't expect to find any leads, actually. They just decided to just check the case as like a normal thing of reopening cases like they usually do. And there was a match with a man called David Sinopoli. And David Sinopoli was actually living in the same apartment complex with Lindys Biechler and her husband. So basically, I don't even know how he got away with this for this long because he was just basically living proximity away from Lindy. But this case actually seemed like a crime with passion. So everybody that was living in that building was actually kind of exempted from it. When the police found this out, they wanted to be very sure that it actually matched with David Sinopoli, or it was just a glitch. So the police had been tracking David down and watching what he has been doing for some weeks, even leading into months. And David is just chilling in the airport, you know, with his kids and his wife, and he's taking coffee and he just throws it into the bin, not knowing that the police is watching him. They go into the bin, take the coffee cup and try to get a match. Again, it matches. So after some hours of him waiting in the airport with his wife and his kids alongside another couple, so they were traveling like as a family vacation, he was arrested in front of his kids and wife and friends, and he was taken to jail. Not going to lie, I hope he gets sentenced for life. But I just found out that being sentenced for life is just 25 years. Why do you now call it for life? So basically, we are waiting for the number of years that the judge is going to give David Sinopoli for killing Lindys Biechler 47 years ago in 1975. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on all my socials. Bye!